Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. We've had a very jam-packed day for the markets. Kicking off the week here, we're going to be giving you guys the up-to-date summary that you need to know on some of the most important stocks that we've been covering. We see Palantir pulling back here after a big analyst comes out with an underweight rating. This is probably one of the main drivers on why we saw a little bit of a sell-off today in Palantir. We'll be talking about that. Other things are the CES conference. Everybody's talking about this right now. The Consumer Electronics Show. NVDA just recently unveiled some very, very big key catalyst for its success in 2025 and even improved its guidance for fiscal 2026. We're going to be talking about some other stocks, giving you guys a broad market update. So if you're new to the channel or returning viewer, help me hit that goal of 22,000 subscribers. We're continuing to grow. Hit that like button, and of course, I'm not a financial advisor, collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Now, if you pop it up on the screen here, Palantir Technologies closes at 75.92, down about 5%, including the after hours, where we saw a little bit of resistance up at around that 80. You see Palantir has a decent sell-off right here. One of the main reasons, likely due to this effect, is Morgan Stanley came out here initiating and renewed their coverage for Palantir with an underweight rating. They cited valuation after a big run-up in 2024. Now, I would agree. A lot of people would agree. Palantir did have a very astronomical large run-up in 2024 with a lot of momentum and buying pressure behind it. And that Palantir was one of the 2024's top AI plays. And while acknowledged, they are still talking about its strong execution and its momentum. They see success as more than priced in at the current multiple premium. Now, we've talked about this before. Not a ton of reaction in my own personal opinion regarding this news. You're going to have analysts that are going to come out here. We could see Palantir pull back a little bit. That is not necessarily a bad thing. Even when these top analysts here are still acknowledging really strong execution and momentum, really just talking about getting a little too ahead of itself in terms of its price action right here. I like when analysts are saying that because personally, Palantir continues to pull back. That is where we could get in at better entry points. And they say right here, while we do believe that the company has an AI technology advantage in the long term, they are still bullish in the long term. They are concerned that the stock has rallied to unsustainable valuation levels, primarily on the back of AI euphoria and retail trading momentum. This was published on Sunday. So they are still bullish long term. The Data Dispatch is still bullish long term. Even if I ever talk about risk for downside potential, that's more being realistic. Sometimes a few of you goes in the comments saying, hey, you keep going back and forth. No, I'm just acknowledging the risk for downside potential, especially when some big analysts are coming out here with underweight ratings, is the reality. And I think we need to take that with full exposure. Now, talking on top of that, you also have Cramer that's been recently coming out with some bullish statements on Palantir that says unless another analyst starts with a sell, I think we will see the buying in Palantir starting at around 3:30 a.m. tonight. Oh, if anybody believes in reverse Cramer theory, everybody's talking about saying here, it's gone. Well, it's done. I guess we'll see what happens. This did add some humor to my day. Like I said, we could see a reversal in Palantir. We have seen support here at the 73s just because we have an underweight rating that came in here today. That could have been priced in. We'll see if this continues, especially with what's been happening in the market. Bigger key players that we need to look forward. And with earnings now coming out here, anticipated in about a month, a lot of eyeballs are going to be looking at Palantir. Could there be a flip, people trying to get in at more attractive prices rather than these high premiums, considering that Palantir is one of the top valued software stocks that's out there right now? Big things from NVDA coming out here. The CEO unveiling some new exciting things regarding the company. NVIDIA pushes up about 3% today, topping at 150, slightly cooling back right underneath it at 149 near these record highs, unveiling new robot training technology. Oh boy, here comes the end of the world. A Toyota deal and new gaming chips. Now, NVIDIA introduced what is called this new Cosmos foundation model that is going to be working to generate photorealistic video, which can be used to train robots in self-driving cars at a much lower cost than using conventional data. Rather than actually having to go out there to collect the data, Cosmos Foundation will be able to help generate these photorealistic videos to help train these new robots by creating what they say here in the tech industry as a synthetic training data, which means it's made up. The models can help robots and cars understand the physical world similar to the way that the large language models help chatbots generate responses in actual and natural language. They say right here that the promises is to be much cheaper than actually conventionally gathering data as we see in today's world. And to train these self-driving cars, for example, companies have fleets of vehicles that roam the streets to gather data. So it costs a lot. And regarding this whole Cosmos model and how we can compare it to this ChatGPT moment, we see here the CEO says that caution that the Cosmos models will need much more data before hitting their ChatGPT-like moment where we saw this enormous amount of interest into AI. And Cosmos is also going to be available on an open license type platform, kind of like Llama 3 from Meta. We also, in addition, from the speech here, have new gaming chips coming out, and they're going to be utilizing NVIDIA's Blackwell AI technologies to give video games more movie type like graphic, especially here in the field known as shaders, which basically allow for more photorealism within an actual video game, such as adding implementations, imperfections, and fingerprint smudges to its surface. These new chips, for anybody that doesn't know about the gaming GPUs, we're on the RTX 40 series right now. This is basically the 50 series that's coming out here, ranging from $550 to $2,000. And they said basically the basic tier of the next gen gaming chip is going to compare to the flagship RTX 4090. NVIDIA also coming out here and talking about Toyota Motor is going to use its Oryon chips and automotive operating system to power advanced driver assistance across several models. And in addition to that, they expect automotive hardware and software revenue of $5 billion in the fiscal year of 2026, up from an expected $4 billion this year. The CES show will run January 7th through the 10th. It's going to be debuting new types of technology, expecting a lot of bullishness from different types of tech companies with anticipation and a lot of hype behind them. NVIDIA coming out here with robots that they're creating, getting into partnering with Toyota, and coming out with some new chips, gaming chips utilizing AI. You also see here Uber stock does a great job rising on an accelerated $1.5 billion buyback plan. Now, this $1.5 billion buyback plan is part of the $7 billion buyback program that Uber, remember, had announced in last February 2024. One of the main reasons that Uber is coming out here with this accelerated buyback is because the CFO had said that the company is buying back its own stock because of its undervalued relative to its actual strength of the business. We see here Uber shares actually jumped on Monday after they started this accelerated buyback program, and with the CFO saying that the stock is undervalued, bringing a lot of interest into the stock. We'll be keeping this more on our radar and on our watch list. And they talk about here, they plan to accelerate the buybacks under the existing authorization. Looking at those shares in particularly, the 1.5 billion purchase is expected to deliver more about 18.5 million shares, and that represents about 80% of the shares that Uber plans to buy back. Nonetheless, for the rest of the market here and for the rest of the week, Tuesday, we're going to be seeing the delivery of the latest updates on monthly job openings that are actually advertised by U.S. employers and on the health of the businesses and the services. And on Wednesday, we're going to get remarks from the Federal Reserve releasing the minutes from its last policy meeting, which will give us more of a highlight and anticipation on what we could be seeing regarding the main interest rate for the federal funds rate. Will we see a third straight time or are we going to continue to see more reductions into 2025? And of course, we'll see that monthly jobs report. Remember, the market's going to be closed on Thursday due to honoring the passing of President Carter. That's all that I have for you guys. What do you think about this with Palantir? Do you think there's still room for the downside, or do you think you agree with Jim Cramer and the people are going to start buying it up at 3:30 a.m.? Peace out, take care, and I'll catch you guys later.